All right, let's start seated. Finding your comfortable seat. Letting your bottom rest heavily in the chair, feeling nicely supported. Maybe the backs of your thighs are supported. Letting the feet rest down. Maybe the soles of the feet are flat on the floor. Letting the spine lift up. Letting the chest feel a bit broad, both chest and upper back, or spreading the shoulders out wide. Let there be a gentle lift of the crown of the head, lengthening the neck area, almost as if you could create a little more space between ears and shoulders. Settling in, taking a few breaths here. Closing your eyes if it feels okay. Eyes can also stay open. Noticing how it feels to breathe this morning. Noticing if there are any areas of your body that are talking to you a little more loudly than others. Or any thoughts that are particularly prominent. Just noticing what they are, noticing the sensations, noticing thoughts or feelings. And not judging yourself for having any of them, but just noticing what they are, letting them be as they are. Noticing also or observing that thoughts, feelings, and sensations are not permanent. They come and they go. Taking a few more breaths, just in this tall seat, settling in. And noticing, starting at the top of your head, is your forehead holding any tension? Could that soften any amount? Is there tension in your cheeks or around your nose or around your ears? Softening your face. Is there tension around your mouth or in your jaw? Softening if it feels okay. Maybe softening shoulders down. Maybe softening belly. Allowing the breath to gently expand and contract. Could the backs of your thighs rest a little more heavily in the chair, letting your sit bones feel balanced? Could the soles of your feet rest heavily on the earth, feeling supported? Moving back up your body a ways, letting the hands rest wherever they feel comfortable. Might you find a gentle lift of both the front and back ribs, lengthening the lower torso, lengthening the sides of your lower torso. Just finding again a little bit of lift, a little length in the spine. Few more breaths here, just noticing the body, observing the breath. Being here in this moment. As you're ready, we'll start moving into the neck a little bit. The eyes can stay closed if it's comfortable, or they can flutter open. When your next exhale arrives, let's tip the chin down towards the chest. Keeping the rest of the body quite tall, nothing too rigid. And we'll let the chin rest in the direction of the chest for a few breaths, breathing into the back of the neck. Then if it would feel okay, let's roll the right ear towards the right shoulder. And breathe here, breathing space into the left side of the neck for a breath or two. As you're ready, and with the next exhale, rolling the chin back down towards the chest. And as you're ready, rolling left ear towards left shoulder. Spending a breath or two on this side. As you're ready with your next exhale, again, rolling the chin down towards chest. When your next inhale arrives, lifting the head so that your gaze comes forward again. Let's stay here for a moment. Gaze forward, just noticing any sensations in the neck from rolling the chin. Maybe the sides of your neck are talking to you or feeling a little longer than they did. Now let's move the head as though we were tilting, nodding the head, yes, I guess. We'll start with the exhale as you're ready, nodding the chin down towards chest. With an inhale, we'll lift the chin. Gaze might lift towards the ceiling. Moving as slowly as your breath. And exhaling back down as you're ready, following your own breath pattern. Option to keep eyes open and send the gaze in the same direction as you're tilting your head. If you're looking up, the gaze might go up towards your forehead. And as you tip the chin down, you might look down into your cheeks. When you're ready and you feel you've done both sides evenly, making your way back to center, gaze forward. Noticing again sensations, giving yourself this time. And then we'll turn the head from side to side, starting off in center again with an inhale. As you exhale, turning the head in either direction, whichever feels better to begin. Keeping the chin about level with the floor. Staying here for a breath or two. When you're ready, coming back to center with an inhale. Exhaling to the other side. Staying here for a breath or two. As you're ready, coming back to center with an inhale. And then we'll start moving more with breath. Inhaling in center, exhaling to one side. Inhaling back to center. Exhaling to the other side. Again, moving with your own breath pattern, about twice more on each side. Again, option to bring the eyes into the mix. You could look over in the same direction as your head is tilting, returning. That can cause some dizziness too, so we can save the eyes for later if that feels better. When you feel about even, making your way back to center, no rush. Noticing how the neck feels, any sensations that have come up. And let's move down into the shoulders a little bit. Let's keep it fairly simple today. We'll rest hands either on the thighs, kind of where they are, or they can lift, whatever feels better. And we'll just start rolling the shoulders back. And let's roll the shoulders forward as you're ready. Releasing the hands back to your lap as you're ready. Noticing how the shoulders feel, giving yourself that pause between this movement and the next. And then we'll start moving into the arms a little more deeply. So option to bring, let's start with the right arm. So either we'll sweep with big circles, the whole arm, or an option could be maybe fingertips to shoulder, and just finding a larger shoulder roll, maybe moving the elbow around. So your movement might be close to the body. It might be a wider circle. It might mean that your arm just comes up almost level with your shoulder. And if circles don't feel good, we could swing the elbow back and forth, or the arm back and forth, forward and back, without doing the whole rotation. If you're doing circles, let's go in the other direction. Switching the direction of your circle. So either whole arm, or maybe fingertips to shoulder, drawing circles with your elbow, or maybe just sweeping the arm back and forth. Deciding what feels good in your body this morning. Let's release the arm as you're ready. Bringing the right hand back to the lap. Noticing how right shoulder feels compared to left, any difference in sensation. And then we'll switch sides. Left arm either can be long, sweeping the arm up and overhead and then back in large circles. We could do fingertips to the shoulder, drawing circles with the elbow. And if the full rotation doesn't serve you today, we can swing the arm forward and back, coming up just as high as it feels okay. We're not looking for any pain in the shoulder. If you're doing full circles, let's switch directions. Fingertips to shoulder would be the same. We'll draw circles the other way with elbow. And if we're not doing circles, we're just continuing to sway the arm forward and back. Eventually releasing the hand back to your lap. Noticing sensations in the left shoulder compared to the right. And let's move down into the spine a little bit. Actually, let's do just a little bit more for the arms. Bringing your palms face up and upper arms tucked into your sides. Forearms are about parallel with the ground. And we'll open up as though you were holding two serving trays, sweeping the arms out to the side a little bit, finding a bit of external rotation of the upper arms. Letting it be gentle, we're not pushing, just a gentle swinging motion. Sweeping our serving trays out. And then releasing the hands as you're ready. Now let's move into the spine. Let's start with, I'm just shifting forward because I'm thinking of crossing legs this morning. So options either to keep the knees as they are, about hip width distance or a little wider. Another option would be to cross thighs. Third option would be to bring right ankle over left knee. And this could be right shin, sort of anywhere along that continuum if it works for your body. So again, it could be just right thigh crossed over left, or starting to bring the knee up, opening the hip a little bit. So wherever you are, inhaling nice and tall. As we exhale, let's twist the shoulders over to the right. The hands might walk along your leg, or if legs on the floor, it might, left hand might reach for the outside of your right leg. The right hand might reach back beside your right hip, or even back behind you. About 2 more breaths here if it feels okay to stay. With every inhale, thinking about lengthening the spine, keeping that really tall line. And with every exhale, just settling into the twist. As you're ready, unwinding. Keeping the legs as they are, whether they are parallel, crossed over, or ankle is over the knee. Inhaling again as you're ready, tall spine. As you exhale, let's hinge forward in whichever variation you are. So if the right leg is lifted, you might feel a bit of opening in the hip. If the legs are crossed, you might feel some compression between thigh and belly. And if legs are parallel, forearms could come to the thighs. About 2 more breaths here. Inhaling all the way up as you're ready. Unwinding the legs, bringing both feet parallel. And then giving yourself this in between sides, noticing sensation, one hip or knee or thigh to the other. And then we'll set up on the other side, either keeping legs again parallel, or this time we'll cross left thigh over right, or we could bring left ankle over right knee. Anywhere along that continuum, from crossed legs and starting to bring the knee up. As you're ready, inhaling nice and tall. And as you exhale, turning the shoulders over to the left. Maybe the right hand might come to the outside of the left knee, or walking along your leg if it's crossed. The left hand might come back behind you, back by your left hip, or directly behind you. With every inhale, thinking about lengthening the spine, crown of the head lifts, keeping the body nice and tall. As you exhale, just settling into your variation of the twist. Slowly unwinding as you're ready, coming back through center. Pausing here for a moment, noticing how the twist felt. And then we'll find our forward fold. With your next inhale, lengthening the spine, sitting up tall. As you exhale, hinging forward in whichever variation you are. If the ankle is crossed over the knee, you might find some opening in the hip. If the thighs are crossed, probably some compression between belly and thighs. And if legs are parallel, forearms could come to thighs. 2 more breaths here. As you're ready, sitting up with an inhale. Unwinding the legs, bringing both soles of the feet back to the floor. Let's bring arms out wide, either reaching out wide in a low V, or maybe reaching up into a high V, sort of deciding what feels okay in your shoulders today. Imagining that your sit bones are really glued down to the chair, and we'll find a side bend from here. Inhaling in the center. As you exhale, tipping over to one side, sort of airplane-ish. Inhaling back up through center as you're ready. Exhaling to the other side. Sometimes it can be helpful as you're tipping to one side, thinking about anchoring the opposite sit bone. So I'm tipping to the left. I have to think about keeping the right sit bone down. Inhaling back up. As I exhale to the right, left sit bone has to feel heavy. One more time each side in your own breath. Releasing hands as you arrive back in center. Noticing how the side bodies feel, or both sides of your body. Let's move into our arching and rounding of the spine, our cat-cow variation. I'll turn sideways. Let's keep hands either on thighs or knees this morning, unless you have a preferred variation, in which case you can find that variation, absolutely. Sitting up nice and tall, sit bones are heavy, chest is broad. Let's start with an exhale, pushing the knees away. We'll start to draw the belly back towards the spine, rounding the spine, pulling the shoulder blades apart or spreading them gently apart. As you inhale, let's bring belly and chest forward. Maybe the gaze lifts. Exhaling again to pull the belly back towards the back of the chair, gently spreading the shoulder blades apart, chin tucks down. Inhaling to draw chest and belly forward. Gaze lifts. Once or twice more, moving with your own breath. As you're ready, settling back into your tall seat, bringing your spine back to neutral. Finding length in your spine again, letting the shoulders melt down. Reconnecting with that mountain pose, our seated mountain pose. The feet firmly on the floor, sit bones heavily resting down, shoulders nice and broad. Spine long, crown of the head lifted, chin about parallel with the floor. Beautiful, let's move into our hips. Let's lift right leg first. If you would like a little more space, sometimes it might feel good to sit closer to the edge of your chair so that your sit bones are still well supported, but so your thighs and hips have a little more room to move. Then let's lift the right leg. And we'll start with our hip circles. So gently moving the hip circle. And we've played with this before, so I'll give you the option, either using your hand to carry the weight and keeping this passive, or you can start to lighten the support of your hand and see how much range you have moving the leg on its own, using the muscular support of your hip and thigh. Switching directions as you're ready. Again, option. You can keep it passive or more active. Good to play with a balance of both if you're up for it. And let's bring the right leg back down to the mat. Pausing for a moment, noticing difference from one hip to the other, one thigh to the other. And then let's move over to the left, lifting the thigh under the left leg. Option again, we'll start with hip circles. Your choice, whether the work is all in the arm, or you start to lighten the load of the arm and use the leg to draw circles, almost like you're drawing circles with your knee. How much support does your leg need if you're moving into the active? Exploring your range of motion. Let's switch directions. If you're playing with making the circles more active, one leg might be easier than the other, or one direction might be easier than the other, allowing the leg to come back down as you're ready. Just giving yourself the time and space to notice these differences. Coming back to the right leg and lifting the thigh just enough so that the right foot comes off the floor. And then let's readjust the shoulders so that we're keeping the shoulders nice and broad, so the upper body's posture is still still has integrity. And then we'll find some ankle circles. Switching directions as you're ready. Pointing and flexing the foot a few times. And then let's release the right foot to the floor, giving yourself the pause, noticing difference between right foot and left. One might feel a little more alive or tingly or whatever the sensation is that you notice. And then let's lift left thigh. So as you lift the left thigh, left foot comes off the floor. Let's adjust the posture in the upper body again. Shoulders are broad, spine is tall. Finding some ankle circles. Switching directions as you're ready. We'll find pointing and flexing the foot a few times. And then release left foot down to the mat. Giving yourself the space to notice sensations. Let's move into our sun salutations. So deciding what stance you'd like to start off with. Feet can be hip width distance. You can find a little more space to allow the torso to come through the body. Deciding what would work best for you this morning. And then before we move through it, we've got a few hand options as well. I generally say sweep arms up and overhead, which is an option. The hands can come wide, they could come together. Hands can also come wide without lifting, and that might feel good in the chest as well. A couple of other options would be cactus arms, if that feels good. So playing with the options. The hands don't have to lift at all. They could even come wide, low. The idea is to broaden the chest, finding some length in the spine again. All right, here we go. Keeping your options in mind. Where are you headed? As we're ready, inhaling to sweep arms wherever they're going. Exhaling, hands to thighs. With an inhale, we'll draw the belly and chest forward, gaze lifts, arching the spine. Exhaling to round the back, belly towards the back of the chair, shoulder blades spread apart gently. Inhaling to the tall and neutral spine. Exhaling to fold forward. Forearms might come to thighs, maybe fingertips trace the shins, or hands might come to the floor. With an inhale, let's sweep right arm up into a twist. Exhaling, right arm down. Inhale, left arm sweeps up into a twist. Exhale, left arm down. Both arms sweep wherever they're headed, bringing you back to a tall seat, spine lifts. Exhaling, hands to thighs. Pausing for a moment, noticing how that version of a sun salutation felt in your body. Would it feel good to try different arms? Would it feel good to test a different width of legs, giving yourself a different amount of space? Adjusting anything that needs adjusting, and here we go again. Inhaling to sweep arms wherever they're headed. Exhaling, bringing hands to thighs. Inhaling to draw the chest forward, gaze lifts, shoulder blades pull together. Exhaling to round the spine, chin tucks, belly towards the back of the chair. Inhaling back to a tall seat. Exhaling to a forward fold, your version. Forearms to thighs, fingertips trace shins, fingertips might come to the floor. Inhaling, sweeping right arm into a twist. Exhale, right arm comes down. Left arm, inhale, sweeps into a twist. Exhale, left arm down. Inhale, both arms sweep wide or up and overhead or into cactus, bringing you back to a tall seat. Exhaling, hands to thighs. Beautiful. Pausing for a moment again between this and the next. We'll do one more. Adjusting anything that needs adjusting. Setting your intention for where the arms are going. As you're ready, inhale to sweep arms. Exhaling, hands to thighs. Inhaling to lift the gaze, chest comes forward, arching the back. Exhaling to round the spine like a Halloween cat. Inhale back to a tall spine. Exhaling to fold forward, your version. Inhaling, right arm sweeps up into a twist. Exhaling, right arm comes back down. Inhale, left arm sweeps into a twist. Exhale, left arm comes back down. Inhale, both arms sweep up, maybe overhead, maybe wide, maybe cactus. Exhaling, hands to thighs as you're ready. Giving yourself a moment. Let's revisit our forward fold. But let's stretch the legs out long. So pushing the heels into the floor. The knees don't have to be straight, but we're moving in the direction of straight. The feet are flexed, so toes are pulling up towards your shins. And the heels are pushing quite firmly into the floor. This could be tricky if you're wearing socks or if you're on a slippery surface. So making sure you're more or less secure, that your heels are stable, especially if you're a little bit precariously perched on the edge of your chair. Inhaling nice and tall. Let's bring hands to hips, broadening the chest. As you exhale, tipping forward over your legs. And we'll inhale back up. Exhaling to tip forward. Inhaling back up. Exhaling to hinge. This time we'll stay forward. If it would feel good to release the hands from the waist, we could start to walk the hands down the legs a little bit, but keep in mind that you want the collarbones to stay nice and broad. Shoulder blades are still pulling back towards each other a little bit. Continuing to breathe. How would it feel to pull the kneecaps up, activating the tops of your thighs? How would it feel to push just a little more into your heels, maybe stretching them just a little bit further away, not moving into any sort of pain? One more breath here. And let's inhale all the way up. Bringing the legs back to the floor, bending into the knees. Might feel good to find a little bit of wiggle of the knees back and forth. And then let's move to standing, and we'll continue this work, stretching a little bit into the backs of the legs. Let's come through chair if you're up for it this morning. So scooching the heels or walking the heels back towards the chair a little bit, bringing hands into prayer, and then shifting weight into the heels, lifting off the seat of your chair, any amount. There should be no pain in the knees. Breathing here, keeping the chest nice and high and the sit bones low. All the way up to standing as you're ready. Beautiful. Releasing the hands. Let's find ourselves facing the back of the chair, the backrest of the chair. Finding your standing version of mountain pose first. So letting the feet be nice and firm on the floor in a comfortable distance. It might be toes touching if that's in your practice. It might be hip width distance. It might be even a little bit wider than hip width distance. Finding your best, strongest stance. Something that makes you feel kind of powerful. As we stand here, feet firmly planted. Imagine that your joints were all nicely lined up. The spine is long or lengthening, as though your feet had roots, burrowing or drawing energy up from the earth. And the crown of the head lifts up towards the sky. The shoulders are broad, leaving lots of space for breath. Just breathing here in this powerful body of yours, tall and strong. As you're ready, let's leave the right foot where it is. We'll step the left foot back into a lunge position. So coming high onto the back toes. You can adjust the stance. It doesn't have to be your widest stance. And we'll start bending into the front knee a little bit. There can be a bit of a bend in the back knee as well. Sometimes if the back leg stays straight, we start to crunch into the low back. So allowing both knees to be a little bit soft as we settle in. When you find the best bend of your front leg, we can start to play with the back leg a little bit. Let's start by thinking about sending the tailbone down towards the floor, keeping length in this low back lumbar area. And keeping this space, maybe starting to stretch into the back heel. The back leg might move towards straight. Breathing here. And let's release, bending back into the back knee, and we'll step forward. Maybe finding a little bit of wiggle if that would feel good. Revisiting your strong stance, finding your standing mountain pose. And then as you're ready, we'll leave left foot where it is, stepping the right foot back, coming high onto the back toes. And again, we'll find a lunge on this side, letting both knees be a little bit soft as we start to settle in. Bending into the front leg, letting the back leg have a bit of give, a bit of bend. And when you find the bend in the front knee that feels like your best angle, let's turn our attention to the tailbone again, sending tailbone down towards the floor, creating lots of space in the lumbar and low back area. And then without losing the space, maybe thinking about straightening the back leg or letting the heel be really heavy. Breathing. And releasing the back heel. Let's step forward. Finding that strong stance, mountain pose, drawing energy up from the earth, feet are rooted down, crown of the head lifts, lots of length and strength in the body. One more time, we'll move through a brief flow. We'll leave right foot where it is, stepping left foot back, coming onto the toes once more. Back knee again can be a bit soft, but settling into your version of a high lunge. And then from here, we'll move with breath. Inhaling to straighten the front leg. Exhaling to tip forward any amount. Inhaling to come back up. Exhaling to bend the right knee. One more time, inhaling to straighten right knee. Exhaling to hinge forward. Inhaling back up. Exhaling to find the high lunge. Letting the back heel feel heavy just for a breath. And let's step forward. In between mountain pose, strong legs, strong tall body. Then leaving the left foot where it is, we'll step right foot back. Finding your version high lunge. Moving with breath. As you're ready, inhaling to straighten the left leg. Exhaling to tip forward. Inhaling to come back up. Exhaling to bend the left knee. Inhaling to straighten. Exhaling to hinge. Inhaling back up. Exhaling to find the high lunge, bent front knee. Pausing here for a breath, maybe again making the back heel really heavy just for a breath cycle. And then let's step forward. From here, let's find our chair down dog. So letting the hands or wrists rest on the backrest of the chair, or it could be on the seat of the chair as well if you know you like to reach a little deeper. Walking the feet back, feet can be wide, knees can be bent, reaching the tailbone in one direction, stretching the crown of the head in the opposite direction, lots of length in the spine. It might feel good to sway from one leg to the other for a few breaths. Or it might feel good just to find a little bit of stillness. If it would feel good to straighten the legs, that is an option too. Keeping in mind that the point of this pose is lots of length in the spine. As you're ready, slowly coming back up, walking back towards your chair. Last one, let's find our standing mountain pose. Finding that strong connection, feet to the floor. Joints are stacked. Spine is long, crown of the head is lifting up. Drawing energy up from the earth, feet are rooted. Upper body is light. Feeling the strength of your body. One more breath. And let's release. Before we move to seated, making any last movements that would feel good as we're standing, anything you want to shake out or wiggle or stretch. Deciding if there's anything you want to do. And as you're ready, we'll meet back in seated. So your choice here as we arrive in the seat, whether it would feel good to have some distance between you and the backrest, finding that tall seat again, or whether it would feel good to rest back, softening the posture a little bit. As we return to the seat, coming back to the idea of observing the breath. Maybe noticing if you can identify any differences between the breath before we started practice or at the beginning and the breath now. Has anything changed? If there were sensations coming up in the beginning of practice, have they moved or changed? Are they the same? If there were prominent thoughts or feelings, are they still there? Have they changed? You'll close practice. You can either leave your hands exactly where they are if they're resting comfortably. You could bring hands over your heart or hands into Anjali Mudra or prayer position. Sending gratitude, first of all, to yourself for making the time to practice today, for moving and breathing with us in community. With gratitude to each of you for allowing me to guide you this morning. And with gratitude to all the students and teachers who've come before us, passing this practice down. Peace. Thank you all. I'll stop the recording.